Hey there, I'm Mike, and I gotta tell you about this insane thing that happened to me a while back. Never thought I'd be the type to share a story like this, but here goes. It's something straight out of a crime show. But it happened, for real, in these woods near my town. I'm just a regular guy. Work construction, nothing fancy. I like hiking. So one weekend, I figured I'd hit the trails in the woods near where I live. I've been there a bunch of times. Never had any issues. It was just another Saturday. You know? But this time, man, it was different. So, I'm walking along the trail. Got my headphones in. Just enjoying nature. It's peaceful. Just the sound of birds and the wind in the trees. Then I see something up ahead, sort of off the trail. At first I think it's a deer or something, so I go to check it out. I get closer and realize it ain't no animal. It's a backpack, all torn up. Stuff spilled out all over the ground. Looks like someone just dumped it in a hurry. That got me thinking, this ain't right. My heart starts pounding, and I get this real bad feeling in my gut. I look around, but don't see anyone. So I decide to take a closer look at the backpack. There's like a water bottle, some food wrappers, and a map. Nothing too weird. But then I see this camera, one of those old digital ones. Curiosity got the better of me and I turned it on. There's photos of the woods, some selfies of a girl. Looks like she's hiking. Normal stuff. But the last few photos, man, they're all blurry. Like she's running or something. Got me real spooked. I'm thinking maybe she's lost or hurt. I call out, but no response. I start following this little side trail thinking maybe she went that way. It's getting darker, and I'm getting more freaked out by the minute. The trail leads to this clearing, and that's where I find her. She's lying there, not moving. My heart just drops. I rush over, hoping she's okay, but it's too late. She's dead. It looks like she's been attacked. It's brutal. I've never seen anything like it. Panic sets in, and I realize I gotta get help. I run back to the main trail, trying to remember the way. It's getting real dark now, and every noise makes me jump. I keep thinking someone's gonna jump out at me. I finally get back to my car and call the cops. The police show up, and it's a full-on crime scene. They're asking me all these questions, like how I found her, if I saw anyone. I tell them everything, but I can't help feeling like they're looking at me funny, like they think I had something to do with it. Turns out, the girl was a local college student, out for a hike, just like me. They never caught who did it. The whole thing was all over the news, and the woods got closed off for a while. I couldn't shake the feeling that I'd seen something important on that camera, but couldn't figure out what. I haven't been back to those woods since. It's like every time I think about going, I see her face. And those last few photos on the camera, it haunts me, man. Who was she running from? What happened out there? So that's my story. I'm Mike, and I found a murdered girl in the woods. It's messed up, and I still have nightmares about it. Be careful out there. Folks, you never know what's happening right under your nose. My name is Gianna, and I've never been one to believe in the supernatural or anything. But what I experienced a few nights ago in Central Park has left me questioning everything. I'm sharing this because I can't make sense of it myself, and maybe putting it out there will help. I work as a graphic designer, often late into the night. That evening, I decided to take a shortcut through Central Park to get home faster. I know, not the smartest move at night, but I've done it plenty of times. The park was eerily quiet, with only the dim path lights guiding my way. As I was walking, I noticed a figure sitting on a bench in the distance. It was odd because it was pretty late, and not many people hang out in the park at that hour. Curiosity got the better of me. and I moved closer. It was a woman, sitting perfectly still, staring at something in her hands, feeling a bit uneasy. I, Gianna, picked up my pace, but then I heard a faint whisper. It sounded like a child's voice, coming from the direction of the playground. That was strange because there shouldn't be any kids around at this time. I thought maybe a child was lost, so I headed towards the playground. The swings were moving slightly as if someone had just been on them, but there was no one in sight. My heart was racing, and every instinct told me to run. But I couldn't just leave if there was a child in danger. I called out, asking if anyone was there, but there was no response, just the sound of the swings creaking. Then, out of nowhere, a ball rolled out from the shadows towards me. I looked around, trying to find where it came from, but I couldn't see anyone. That's when I heard the whispers again, this time more than one voice, still sounding like children. I felt a chill run down my spine. It didn't feel right, like something was very off. I decided to leave the playground, but as I turned to go, I saw the woman from the bench standing at the edge of the playground, still staring at her hands. I approached her cautiously and asked if she was okay. She didn't respond, didn't even acknowledge my presence. Looking closer, I realized she was holding a small, old photo of what looked like a family. A man, a woman, and 2 kids. She suddenly looked up at me, her eyes hollow with sadness, and whispered, "They're gone." Before I could react, she got up and walked away into the darkness of the park. Shaken, I, Gianna, hurried home, locking the door behind me. I tried to convince myself it was my imagination, that the fear and the eerie atmosphere of the park at night had gotten to me. But deep down, I knew it was more than that. The next day, I couldn't shake off the feeling of dread. I decided to do some more digging into the history of Central Park. That's when I discovered a series of unexplained disappearances in the park dating back decades. People, mostly lone walkers, had vanished without a trace. No clues, no suspects, just gone. The cases were never solved, becoming part of the park's dark lore. That night, and many nights after, I was plagued with nightmares. I saw the woman, the children from the photo, and faceless figures chasing me through the park. I'd wake up in a cold sweat, unable to shake the feeling that someone was watching me. A week later, I received an envelope with no return address. Inside was the same photo the woman had, but with a note on the back. It read, "Help us." My hands trembled as I stared at the photo. The family looked familiar, but I couldn't place them. Were they reaching out to me from beyond? Or was someone playing a cruel joke? I couldn't ignore it. I had to go back to the park, to that playground. It was a clear night, the moon casting long shadows. As I approached the playground, I saw the swings moving again, as if an invisible child was playing. A cold wind brushed past me, and I heard a whisper, "Find us." I searched the playground, looking for any clue, any sign of what happened to the family. That's when I found it, partially buried under the sandbox. A locket, old and rusted with a picture inside. It was the same family, but there was a date inscribed on the locket. The same year the family went missing. Suddenly the playground lit up, as if bathed in a bright light. Children's laughter filled the air, but it was not joyful. It was haunting, filled with sorrow. The swings stopped moving, the laughter ceased, and the light dimmed. I was alone again, holding the locket. I reported my findings to the police, but they were skeptical. They said it was probably a prank or my imagination. But I know what I saw, what I felt. The park holds secrets, dark and old, and I had stumbled upon one of them. I still pass by Central Park on my way to work, but I never take the shortcut through it anymore. Sometimes, I can feel eyes on me, hear faint whispers in the wind. The park has a life of its own, a memory that remembers those it has taken. And I, Gianna, am forever a part of its story. The gas station incident. Okay, so I've never written anything like this before, but something happened to me last week that I can't shake off. I gotta tell someone about it, and maybe you guys will believe me. This happened at a gas station late at night, and it still gives me chills thinking about it. I work late shifts at a warehouse, and my drive home usually has me passing this old, kind of run-down gas station. It's one of those places that's open 24/7, but never seems to have more than a couple of cars there, even during the day. That night, I needed to fill up my tank, so I pulled in, figuring it'd only take a few minutes. The place was empty, except for this old sedan parked at the far end of the lot. It was kind of beat up, with one of those dents on the side that looks like it's been in a fender bender. No big deal, right? I start filling up my car. That's when I notice there's someone sitting in the sedan. Just sitting there, not moving. It was weird, but I figured they were probably just on their phone or something. I'm standing there, watching the numbers on the pump go up, and I get this weird feeling, like I'm being watched. I glance over, and the guy in the sedan is now staring right at me. I couldn't see his face well, just his silhouette, but he was definitely looking my way. I tried to brush it off, thinking maybe he's just zoning out or something, but it still felt off. As the pump clicks, signaling it's full, I hear this noise. It's this low, dragging sound, coming from behind the station. I'm already on edge because of the dude in the car, so I decide to check it out. Stupid, I know, but I thought maybe someone needed help or something. I walk towards the sound, and that's when I see it. There's this figure, dragging something heavy. It's too dark to see clearly, but it looks like a body. A human body. I froze, man. My heart was pounding so hard I thought it was going to burst. The figure stops, turns, and I swear, it looked like it had no face. Just this blank space where a face should be. I don't know if it was a mask or what, but it freaked me out. I didn't stick around to find out. I bolted back to my car, but when I looked over, the sedan was gone. Just vanished. I got in my car, locked the doors, and drove out of there as fast as I could. I kept checking my rearview mirror, half expecting to see that faceless figure or the sedan following me. I got home and tried to convince myself I imagined it all, but I couldn't shake the image of that dragging figure and the faceless head. I didn't sleep at all that night. The next day, I drove past the gas station again, in broad daylight. Everything looked normal, but I couldn't bring myself to stop there. I don't know what I saw that night. I'm not sure I want to know. I haven't told anyone about this, because who'd believe me? But it's been eating at me, and I had to get it off my chest. Be careful out there, especially at night. You never know what's lurking in the shadows.